Hello, and welcome to One Voice Live, where we talk about One Voice, what it is, and how it fits into the world of singing. I'm your host and creator of One Voice, Michael Maresca, and I'm so excited to be with you all today because this is a takeover for the next 2 weeks. I will be taking the place of Alex Zito, One Voice Master, who will rejoin us in 2 weeks. So excited and privileged to be here. Today is show number 41. Yes, and we'll be talking about the workout phase in an interview with today's guest. And I want to bring up today's guest and talk a little bit about them before they join us on the show. Trevor Berger, folks. Trevor, glad to have you here.
Woo! Good to be here.
Woo! Yeah, I'm so excited because this is my first time taking over the show, obviously, and I'm just so excited to have you here. Truly. I was actually talking to Alex about this literally yesterday, and she was like, "No, I'm so jealous of you. I was so excited to have an interview with Trevor." I was like, I know. I know.
We've been talking about it for a while.
I know. So really exciting. Very excited to have you here. So first things first, Trevor, if you would, and I wanted to say to all the folks out there watching, I wanted to say that I will probably be taking notes. You all will see me probably looking down and writing things because I always love learning and being curious, and having something at my fingertips makes it easy for me to quickly jot ideas down. So you all will see me from time to time moving down and writing things and checking stuff. So that's what you'll be seeing today. So Trevor, to start it all off, please kind of take us through, I want to get some backstory on you in terms of your singing journey. Could you give us the backstory of your childhood through high school?
Yes. I started singing very young. I would sing my go-to song when I was a kid, probably before kindergarten, leading into kindergarten, was Proud to Be an American, the Lee Greenwood version. And I would sing that at our family reunions. We have this family picnic every year, and that was always a performance opportunity for me. And then I sang it in my kindergarten class. And then in first grade, my parents were like, "Do you want to try this after-school theater program? If you don't like it, you don't have to try. You don't have to go back. But why don't you just try it?" And I tried it, and I did Annie. I was Rooster and Annie. I was like 7 years old.
Come on. Wait.
Easy Street.
Did you book that with your go-to song?
No, at this community theater, they gave you just. I think you honestly sang Happy Birthday or something, and then did that, and that was my first time singing in front of a big audience, and I loved it. And then stayed at that theater program through even into college. Golden Performing Arts Center, it was called. It was awesome. And we did all the classics. And then when we got to our teen years, in the teen category of theater, we did more heavy shows. We got to do Parade and Ragtime and all these shows. So it was always singing, but also the heavy storytelling. That was also awesome. And then same with high school, in my theater program in high school. Always was singing, never had any training until college. You were my first voice coach ever, which is pretty awesome.
That is pretty amazing. I feel very lucky for that.
And so that was, pre-One Voice was all just kind of listening to singers that I liked how they sounded, so I would kind of try to sound like them or sing songs the way they did it. And until sophomore year of high school, I really started finding what my own voice kind of sounded like. Because up till then, I was literally just imitating, and it got me pretty far for what I needed to do. And then you hit One Voice, and everything's blown wide open, and your possibilities go from here all the way up, and now I'm still on an upward climb.
So that bring me to that moment. What was your first experience with One Voice? And in that moment, what did you think about it?
It was at the on-campus auditions at Texas State. I was there with my mom, and we had already started. We started early on during the program overview and everything with Caitlin to start to fall in love with the school. And then I stand by the fact that you closed the deal there. Just watching, because I didn't even work with you, but watching you work with someone and just start explaining some of the theories of One Voice, and then implementing little exercises on people that would just completely change their sound. And me and my mom kind of looked at each other like, this guy's insane. Why have I never heard about this?
Wow.
Because this seems like yeah, I want to go here. And then it was like, please get in here so I can study this. And then, so that was the moment where I was like, I really want to know more about this. I really want to, this seems like a cool thing to dive in on. And I had never had training, so this is the kind of training I wanted.
Yeah.
And then I was lucky enough to get in, and then the rest is history.
Wow. That's so amazing. And yes, everyone, why don't more people know about this? Yes, that's what we're working on doing, getting it out to the world. So please share this with people all around you, your friends, your neighbors, their pets, perhaps. Maybe their pets want to learn. No, One Voice is going to change the world of singing. I'm so excited about it. And people,
and I know there are people watching who I've told about One Voice. So, hey, guys.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for being here. Excited you all are here. So this kind of gets my head spinning a little bit and thinking about a couple things. The first is, control. I want to talk about control with you. And pre-One Voice, what was your ability to control your voice?
I've thought about this a lot because there are moments in my One Voice journey where I've kind of taken a step back and I'm like, am I a worse singer than when I started? Because things might be harder. But then I put it in, I look at what I had done before One Voice, and I was always considered a tenor, I guess. I was always able to sing maybe a little bit higher than the average guy going through puberty in high school.
You were the lucky guy. You were the special guy.
But I don't think I was ever... So I was singing maybe G's, maybe touching an A or things like that, but I was never really challenged to go beyond that. So when I got to college, that was the first time I'd ever really sang like on A's or on a B flat and things like that. So I guess in terms of control, I was never having to leave my middle. So I didn't have to worry about controlling my head coordination because I didn't know what it was and I hadn't even tried to use it really. And so I would just kind of go out and trust that it'd be there because it had never not been there because I wasn't challenging myself to do things that were out of my range. But then when I got to college and started early workouts and things, it was just that spray and pray, trying to just splat it out. And I was realizing, I don't have a lot of control over this and I should. So like, how do we get to that moment?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love, I heard you and I were talking the other day and I loved it when you said that. I'd never heard spray and pray, and I just love that. That's really amazing. So okay, so here you are. You are what I would jokingly refer to as the unicorn, right? In the world, you're the guy that everyone else was like, God, like how does he? How does he do that? I wish I could do that. I wish I was naturally talented in that way. And so, right. And so now, which I'm sure you love hearing, my next question with this is in terms of being the unicorn, right, in the world, what did One Voice do for someone like you who already had it, who could already do it, right?
Well, I thought I could do it, and I thought I would just be able to do it for the rest of my career. I already know what to do. No, but I had a very humbling experience sophomore year, the summer between sophomore and junior year, where I had learned a little bit of One Voice, because I guess for people that don't know, freshman year you spend mainly your time in One Voice in a class with the rest of your class learning the theories of One Voice, which are essential to then having individual voice lessons, which don't come until sophomore year. So I guess I'd had a year of voice lessons and obviously growth and things like that. But I was faced with a humbling experience when I was singing a role at a local theater that I thought, I don't need to work out. I have this. This is fine. I'm not nervous. And then every night proceeded to, on the climax of a note in Grand Hotel where I was playing the Baron, would proceed to go, and I'm no, and it was my first time ever cracking in front of an audience, and it was honestly kind of liberating. But it was a moment where I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to ever be in this position again if I can help it." That's when I kind of made the dedication to myself to really take my vocal practice seriously, to take my body seriously, what I'm putting into my body, just a whole taking care of it, all this because it's my career. And that was the moment where I think I called you after that experience and we talked about it, and I was just kind of like that. I know I could have gotten to a place to sing that without any trouble, but I just didn't put the work in, and I was like, okay, from here on, let's go. Like this is something I really want to put the time and energy into because I believed in it too.
Yeah.
And I'd seen results up to that point, so I wanted to just go even further.
Well, and you bring this now to my next question, which is about working out, which is what this whole topic is today to talk about. I want to dig into that now and shift gears a little bit and focus a little bit more on the workout and specifically. What we've been talking about in this whole series of building a vocal practice is we've gone through all the phases of the vocal workflow and how that fits into an overall voice practice and what that is and da-da-da-da-da. And so a lot of people right now are now starting to, all of our viewers are starting to like figure out, okay, what is a voice practice? How do I do this effectively? What are the different parts of the workflow, the different phases? And one of the ones that has a lot of questions around it, of course, is the workout. And so I want to dig into that a little more deeply. And I want to ask you now, because you talked a little bit about your previous experience, I want to ask now what life is like, what are your experiences now learning how to do actual vocal workouts instead of like, you know, back in the day, I'm sure you heard this when you were in auditions, things like that. People are like, well, I'm going to do like my warm-up CD and I'm going to do like my warm-up tape. And I always used to think to myself, I thought, well, that's awesome, but when are you actually going to work out? Like, it's nice to warm up, but that's like going to the gym, like, and cool, and I'm done, right? And then you walk out. It's like, oh, well, when are you going to work out? And so I want to know now, what has your experience been with working out? And what has that been like with shows, rehearsal processes, roles?
I mean, talking about Tony, for example, because my workouts, I guess, they vary depending on what's coming next for me. So once I got Tony, I was like, okay, this is going to consume my workouts now. And I have a great coach in New York, Jackson Perrin. Shout out Jackson Perrin.
Certified
the best. And so, I mean, and again, then Tony sings the B flat in Maria. And I was cracking a couple of years back on an A flat. So I was like, hey, we gotta get this solid. My goal, the first thing I said to Jackson was, I want to be able to wake up, hit a little warm up, and I want it to be there. I don't want to ever have to question that it's there. And so our workouts turned into just that. It was a lot of honing in first on the shape that we wanted and the weight, which we kind of came to a longer shape, raised off palate, a little more covered sound. But still with a good amount of airflow to get the volume that we wanted, and then on a mid-weight, because that style, all you really need is a mid-weight for that kind of classical traditional style.
Definitely.
And so it was honing in on that first, and then just it was reps. It was singing the climax of the song 10 to 20 times in a workout in 40 minutes, just going as hard as we can because I would never have to sing it more than 2 times in a day. So if I can do it 10 times back to back, no problem. 2 times a day is going to be really easy. So that was kind of where we started with the workout process.
I was going to pause you because I want to, before you go further, because I want to talk about what the experience was, and thank you for that. I want to talk about the experience of what it's like for you before you start a workout, what it's like in the middle of a workout, and then what it's like as you start to finish the workout. But before you go into that, I want to share with the viewers a clip of you singing this so they can get perspective of it. So here is Trevor singing Maria in Tokyo. I mean, how many people were in the audience on this? How big was this theater?
It was like 1,400.
Small house. And by the way, the audience is moving right now. The stage is not. Beautiful. So good. So good. Changing weights. Our volume here. Beautiful. Nice volume change. Lovely lightweight. Come on. Beautiful. Oh, so good, so good. So there we are. There we are. When you have that, Maria, beautiful. So okay, so that was what you were building. You're really going through some intense workouts with that. To get there and prepare for that.
It's so funny too, because hearing that back and telling you like what our goal was for it, I feel like a lot of people might think a workout, oh, it means heavy weight. You're working out with heavy weight only, you know. But sometimes getting that mid-weight was way more exhausting than applying a heavy weight to it, which surprised me too.
When you bring up process, you bring up a really good point. I think that. Just what you said, I think a lot of people think that heavyweight is going to be where the real workout is. That's where it's going to be, but really it just depends on what your default is. If you default in a heavyweight, then it's going to be really a lot of energy, a lot of mental effort, and a lot of focus and physical effort to get to developing a lightweight or a midweight. If you're a person who defaults in a lightweight, it's going to be a lot more mental effort and energy and effort and work for you to get to establishing a heavyweight. It's a lot more work. So you bring up a really good point there. So Trevor, talk to me now about, because this is the meat of it all right now, where we start to figure out, okay, so I'm going to start doing, a workout. What should I expect? What should I be looking for in my voice? What should I feel? I said that very far. What should I be looking for? That felt really lovely, right, what I said before.
Looking for.
What should I be looking for, Trevor Berger? Yeah, what should I be looking for? What should I expect? Because I think a lot of times what we do is we think about a workout, and then we have our good singing mind on the things we've learned forever that someone taught us in middle school. And we have an expectation of what we think. Yeah, right? we have an expectation of what we think it should be like, yet we've never experienced it. So we actually don't have really any idea of what we should be experiencing. We just have a made-up idea of what we think it should be. And so we stop ourselves so many times from ever actually experiencing it. So speaking to your real-life experience, what is it like for you physically speaking? What do you feel when you start the workout, when you are in the middle of the workout, an exhaustion workout in specific, and then what you feel like when you're at the tail end of it before you go into phase 4?
Yeah. Well, for me, I think first, the beginning part of my workout phase is still, and in my warm-up, I try to get rid of as much tension, squeeze, all that I can. Yeah. But sometimes jumping into the workout, because in the workout then we're jumping up to the B flat and the other notes, there's still a little bit of that squeeze still on there. So it's kind of like my workouts are almost, they're arced in a way. It's on the climb up. You're still getting rid of everything, getting rid of all that squeeze, some of the tension. And then right in the middle is when you hit that sweet spot where it's like you're doing maybe 5-6 reps, and it's just every time nailed it. My voice feels free. It feels, and then you keep wanting to go because it feels great. And you're like, I've never sung like this before, and so you just want to keep feeling it. And then you start to feel, oh, okay, well, this was a workout, and so now I'm getting a little tired. And it's almost like a no. Like I've exhausted myself, but I want to keep singing like this because it feels so good. So and then it's. Your body tells you when it's time to probably cool down, and I think the sign of a great exhaustion workout is when your body is craving that cool down.
Right.
For me personally, a lot of I'll know it's the end of a workout when a lot of that tension and stuff starts coming back in to help. Yeah. I've gotten rid of it all, and things are clear and easy and efficient and relaxed, and then I'll notice, oh, what. This is kind of starting to grip again. There's something, I'm tired now, so I'm trying to help myself, or thinking I'm helping myself. Yeah. And so then there's a lot of air escaping. It's clearly my voice is a little cooked and tired. Nothing about it is hurting or is sore or is like damaged. It's all just, that was a workout. And then I'll be talking with Jackson, and I'll be like, I love you, man. I really want to keep talking, but I have to cool down.
Stop.
Because I could talk to Jackson for days.
Now, after that, just a fine line, because you bring up a really, I think, a very important point about this, which is there's a line, of course, between damage and fatigue and tiredness, right? So as you're working something out, you start to take on all these tensions, especially as you go towards the end of the workout, because your body gets tired, it starts trying to help. And then just overall using a muscle over and over and over and over, you're slowly but surely going to build up more and more tension.
Right.
but that there's a line between those, and after you get into your phase 4, your voice, all that stuff, everything's fine and comes back. If there's damage, it's not going to come back, which is an important line to draw in the sand for those of you listening and attempting those workouts, exhaustion workouts, which are really exciting. You
right, and you'll never be doing anything wrong or putting your voice in jeopardy, so long as the foundation is there, and you're navigating through things that are in theory efficient. If there's ever a moment where it's clear I'm pulling up my middle or my chest, Jackson will stop me and say, let's make sure we're in the right coordination, because then that's where it can get a little, like, you don't want to keep doing that over and over and have that become a default, because that's not longevity. That's not going to be a consistent thing that you can do.
So Trevor, on a side note with that, you were talking earlier, you're like, yeah, it just felt so great. I just kept nailing it. One of the things we talk about with the workouts is that the workouts are the place where the real results happen. That's where you really see the growth, is in the workouts. So did you, in working on this, to hit the B flat, did you just start to, what most people are going to think is you need to stretch your voice? Is that what you did? Did you just stretch your voice?
Yeah, I just kept forcing it there, and eventually, no.
Good.
No, and the process of it the workout sometimes isn't pretty. It's a lot of failing forward.
What does that mean? What does that sound like? Like what should I expect when I'm doing that with my own voice?
Look, sometimes
like cracking,
especially some cracking, some wobbling, some aiming for a certain weight that you think is what you want, and then it falls a little lighter, and you're kind of like, wait, where was that? That wasn't what I was going for, and then for us too, it was like thinking we maybe wanted something a little heavier, and then it, by some chance, just in the workout, getting a little bit lighter and being like, wait, no, because that lightweight, that mid weight right there, mixed with a good airflow is actually really thrilling, and still not making, because also what I never wanted to do with that song in particular, I never wanted to make the note feel indulgent, or I wanted it to serve the story. And this is a character that's like in his teens still, so he's not some baritone like muscle guy. He's a kid. Yeah, he's a kid, and so I wanted it to still sound as pure and sweet and informed by the story as possible. What were we talking about? I just got on a tangent there.
It's fantastic. About how, how did you get there? Did you end up just forcing?
Yeah.
Did you just stretch it, or was it about building something else? And
it was amazing. Jackson, we had this regimen. We do it every time, kind of, where we just do Maria, and we do that sequence over and over, because that right there it starts on a G, so you're still in the middle, and then you have to get into head. And so starting that on a lightweight was everything. Super relaxed, lightweight, because the lightweight kind of doesn't ever lie. And so it was doing that over and over, making sure transition, I wasn't pulling anything, and then just increase the weight a little bit until we got to the weight we wanted. Is it still transitioning into head? It is, good. So it was just getting really meticulous with that transition right there. And then we mastered that. Everything was great. All right, now sing the whole song. And then it all goes out the door and you sing the full song.
That's the best. That's the best. You feel so good, and you're like, oh, yes. I nailed the transition. I got the weight I want, the volume, yes, right between head and middle. Come on, let's go. Then you sing. It's like literally, you feel like you've never sung before. And you're like, what's happened? Why can I not do this?
It's like, you want to try the whole thing? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I'm going to kill it. And then I realized, everything I'm doing up to that climax point is not what we have set up for the climax point. So I'm doing myself a disservice and setting myself up for failure to get where I need to go, because I'm singing this part with some squeeze or heavier weight than it needs to be or whatever. So then we really looked at the beginning part and then put it all in context. And then when we were talking, after we talked a couple of days ago, something came to me, and also, especially when you're working out for a character or a song that you're going to be singing in context, it is everything to, once you have that foundation of the technique, to then put it in context of the emotion.
Yeah.
And so Jackson would then be like, okay, now you're on stage and do it with the feeling. And then you see how that informs for the better sometimes for the worse, all the things that come up with that. And then you start to, but then it becomes natural because then your voice starts to feel where it can go. If you can give a little more weight here because feeling wise, that's what you're wanting, and that's where a lot of those dynamics that you were kind of talking about on the end of it. Where you kind of pull back in volume, but it's still maybe a little heavier than lightweight.
Yeah.
Where then you build those, and that all builds the character.
Well, and when
cool.
it's such a cool. I love that you said that because I think sometimes we go into a workout and we say, all right, here, I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm going to do everything. I've got to work on making sure that I'm not over pressurizing. And then I've got my heavyweight and then I make sure that I'm, not raising my left eyebrow and that I'm not making the back of my vocal tract small. And there's all these things, right? And so we try and do them all at the same time. And what you just highlighted is so beautiful, which is what we call layering. And you go piece by piece to layer each piece so that it gets better and better and better. Not better and better,
so
but it becomes more complicated.
Too.
Oh yeah.
It's so collaborative in a lesson. Like I feel like I'm sometimes my most creative in the room with you or Jackson or whatever. Yeah. As you layer things, and then you see, oh, this knob got turned on. We got to turn that off because we don't want that there. Yeah. But that also did turn on this, which we kind of like. So let's keep that. And it's just like
so cool.
It's just there's endless possibilities with it.
And that's what's cool is starting to see your voice. That was one of the things that kind of like changed my life from the lens of the one voice lens on my voice with the theories. Is it showed me that wow, like my voice is actually I can actually use it kind of like a mixing board. Like I could actually say, well, I'm going to turn the volume here and take my vocal tract here. I'm going to change the weight here and do vibrato here. And what about that? It's so fun. It's so fun. And then it does become this game of painting the right picture that makes sense for the story. So then once you strategized and you figured out, okay, so what I've got to do is I've got to build head coordination and I've got to build the transition between middle and head coordination, achieve the weight that I want to, right? And then I'm going to layer on the character work and the acting work with that, make sure that's not messing up everything vocally and that it all meshes together and works well. Once you did that, right, which is fantastic, a beautiful, beautiful process. Now you're done, right? Like you've gotten it once, you're done forever, right? Because it's just a trick, right? So what's next? What happens? What do you have to build then? Where does the stamina and the endurance come in?
Well, because it's not. Then you have to think about. Well, I'm not just singing that one song in the whole show. So then that became a kind of that song set the precedent of shaping for the whole show vocally. Which was cool. But yeah, so for that song in particular, we'd rep, and then you'd come back next week, and instead of being exhausted after 6 reps, I'm exhausted after 10 reps.
And now by a rep, you mean what? By a rep, you mean what?
By rep, I mean singing the song.
Singing the song. Great, thanks for that.
Singing the song. And so that's, for anyone at home who's confused about workouts or what it should feel like, the proof is in the pudding. You'll see it in the next week, the next couple of days when you go back. It's really it's crazy because it doesn't take that long if you're doing it consistently and building upon foundation that's good and efficient so it was really interesting to see over time those reps just increase and I wasn't getting tired anymore and I was like, okay, now I don't feel nervous even to go into the rehearsal setting when we're going to be setting this number. I'm probably going to have to do it 5 times just or at least isolate certain moments 5 different times, and it was I know it's there. I know where my voice wants to go. The muscle memory's there. It was all good.
You said it just gets better and better and better as you do those workouts, and I think that's such a tell because of the strategy from the lens that you're looking at everything with. That singing I always mix this up in mind.
It's a B flat.
Thank you. Every time I'm like B flat. Ridiculous. I don't know how many times.
No, we're working on the B now.
Okay, great. So
we got the B flat. Now let's move to the B. Yeah.
B, C, D, E. Yeah. So So once you get there, right, and you're doing that, I think what a lot of people might think is it's that idea of, well, I hear what they're saying on One Voice Live. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start stretching it up there. And so that's what they do. The problem is, and this is so cool that what you said it gets better and better and better, and it's always so amazing that it gets better and better and better. It even surprises me And I'm always like, God, this is so much better. And it's so stupid that it still surprises me, but I get so excited. But I think it's such an important tell that it gets better and better and better based on that foundation, like you said. Because if it doesn't, and you're not improving, that's actually getting worse. Because if you're forcing a coordination, it's going to get worse. It'll actually get worse and worse and worse. In fact, I think you were the one who showed me some stuff on a whole bunch of people who sang Pity the Child. And it's amazing. For those of you watching, go on a YouTube rabbit hole of Pity the Child, and you can actually watch people sing the role in Chess, sing that song in the musical called Chess, and they'll sing it. And in the beginning, they hit it, they're fine. And then towards the end of the show and the end of the run, their voices get really ragged, and they almost can't even hit the note. And that's because they're forcing a coordination up into another coordination's territory. And so I think it's key to what you said, because there are those people, right, that somehow can just keep hitting the B flats and the C's no problem every day, the entire run, 3, 5, 7, 10 years, totally fine. Well, why is that? Well, that's because they're magical ponies. And it's not. You were never a unicorn. And that's what's so frustrating, I think, especially for someone like you. I can only imagine people saying, well, I just wish that I had that naturally. You work so hard to build the transition between middle and head and to develop that. Because
remember, sophomore year of college, I auditioned for Tony at CRT.
Yes.
And we worked on my video submission, and we got it there to a good place, but I could do that maybe once.
Yeah.
In a day. And because I was still pulling, there was a lot of pressure, a lot of squeeze, and it was almost a blessing that I didn't get that at that time, because I was not ready, and it probably would have scarred me from the role and from that show for the rest of my life. So it was nice, but and the director of that, Cassie, was it was funny sharing her with the video from Tokyo, from Japan, because she was like, I remember when you sent in your audition tape. And to see how, like, to compare those and to see how far it's come, that's where all the moments of me being like, am I worse now? Go out the door. Because I'm like, no, I wouldn't have even dreamed of singing this in high school. In this way. And,
kudos. Congrats on that. So I want to give you a scenario to close for today. I want to give you a scenario. Let's say that I'm a singer. I'm building my voice, and I hear about all this workout stuff, right? Okay. But I've learned that singing should always be easy, Trevor. That's what I've learned. It should always be easy. What would you tell me, based on your real life experience, in terms of a workout?
Well, I would say singing is not always supposed to be easy. It should be efficient, but it should not be easy. There was nothing easy about singing this role. It was exhausting. It was a challenge. But that doesn't mean it was done in a way that wasn't efficient and something that wasn't able to be achieved 8 shows a week. So I'd say all the signs are in your body. Jackson, when we were working on this stuff, would make me look in the mirror and look at the physical tension that would sometimes come up. And it's just, your body tells you all the signs you need when there's a bunch of veins popping out, and that was a big one. Was my veins would be popping out, and there was so much tension, and I wasn't even on a heavy weight. I was not achieving all this stuff was just trying to help for some reason,
awesome.
And it was still not heavy. I'm like, well, this doesn't sound heavy, so why is this? And he's like, it's tension. Your body's trying to help you achieve even this weight, and it's thinking it's helping, but it's not. So for someone that's going to go into a workout, it helps to look in the mirror.
That's cool.
And to achieve a relaxed position at the very beginning, with just no tension. And then for me, it was, don't be afraid to start on the weight that you aren't trying to get to, or you might want to be on a heavy weight. However, it might take a few reps or a couple weeks of first getting it on a lightweight to make sure you've transitioned properly into the coordination to start, and then you increase that to midweight, and then in that process too, you're building that full weight scale into your voice, which
amazing.
Is awesome. Because and then that's where the control you talk about comes in, because then in the moment, as the character, when you're feeling things, you know that's all built in there, so you can play with that, and you can say, I think, I'm feeling like it manifests itself through a heavier weight right now. Just and it starts happening naturally without you thinking about it. But it's all the foundation's all there. So I would say don't be afraid to exhaust yourself. If you're a little hoarse or tired after, that's a good thing. It means the workout was successful, and your body will tell you if you went past what you were supposed to, or if there's something wrong. And like you said, you won't even be able to cool down anymore too, like a neutral. Your neutral will be gone if you've damaged your voice.
Right.
And what I've discovered with you and with Jackson is, I think your voice can go so much further than what a lot of maybe traditional pedagogy tells you. Yeah. I truly believe the first sign of like a crack or something, it's like, oh no, you can't. You're not meant to sing there.
Yeah. Oh man, run away!
Yeah. Put that away. That's not you. But the voice it's no different than a bicep or a chest that can be strengthened and to wherever you want it to go.
So good.
Which has been so exciting. It's so cool.
So good.
And then there's still things in the role that I'm like, when I get a chance to play this role again, I want to go even further and get this on this part and this on this part. It's just cool because it's all, that was still very much like a process in a way for me. It was the first time I did 80 shows 8 shows a week for a couple months out of college. It was all learning, and it was cool to be successful at it and have it be something that I was proud of. And that's all a testament to the work from One Voice, and just the workout and the dedication to a strict vocal practice.
Man, kudos. Well said. Well said. Thank you for that. I wanna just highlight for the viewers, like this is the core of what we do in terms of our culture, which is curiosity. And Trevor, that is something you practice constantly, and so thank you for that. It's inspiring. And so exciting. You're always looking to learn in whatever you're doing, and it's amazing. So thanks for that. Trevor, how can people find out about you?
About me?
Yes.
I have a website.
Beautiful.
TrevorJamesBerger.com.
I'll put it in the notes.
Berger. You can find me on Instagram, Trevor Berger 13, one word.
Boom. All right, I'll have
Twitter,
those.
I think that's it.
Okay, great. And I'll have those all in the description notes, so you can follow Trevor and see what he is up to in the world, especially as we have more and more opportunities to perform, as all this wildness the clouds of the wildness starts to go away. That brings us to the end of our time today, everyone. And so next week, I'll be back with a very special guest. In fact, I'll be chatting with the very, very one and only normal host of this show, One Voice Master and Coach, Alex Zito. I'm very excited to actually be turning the tables on her, and I'll be interviewing her and chatting with her. Our show will be about whistle and rumble, the two coordinations that are at the end of the coordination scale, which is very exciting, very fun. We'll be talking a lot about that. Thanks so much for watching. Everyone, please keep curious out there, and we'll see you next week. Thanks again, and thanks, Trevor.
Thank you.